Evening, everybody. What's going on? How are you guys doing? All right, let's see who we have joining us for tonight's discussion. Are you ready for a relationship? That seems to be the question. And of course, this discussion is for married folks and single folks as well. This is for everybody. So the question is, are you ready for a relationship? Guys, I'm so glad to be back home. My wife and we had an awesome, outstanding time in Alabama this weekend. We had two speaking engagements. My wife spoke at the whole women's conference. And guys, let me tell you something. She showed off. She showed off. Oh, there she is. I love you, baby. My baby's in love, and I'm in love with her. Uh-oh, Mike Sutton, what's going on, brother? I had a good time with you in Alabama, man. He said, let's hear it, dude. Well, you're about to hear it. Come on, somebody. Like, seriously, though, like, my wife showed off. That was an awesome Christ-centered, gospel-centered message that she taught. And I'm really thankful for her. We all have to get back to focusing on what's important, because I feel that a lot of us, my man Husband Guy just joined. What's going on? Y'all follow at Husband Guy. Definitely follow him. He is a father. Congratulations to him and my sister. Indigo, there she is. They're having a baby, and I'm just so thrilled for them. I mean, it is a wonderful thing to bring life into the world. Guys, I'm so happy for you, man. Whew, God is so awesome. I love to see great things happen for couples, man. I just love to see great things happen for people, period. And that child is going to be amazing. She's going to do they're going to do some amazing things in the world. But check this out. So, all of us need to get to a point where we're refocusing on what's important, because I honestly, guys, feel like a lot of us have lost track of what matters, and it's very easy to lose your focus. But when I heard my wife's sermon this weekend, it really reminded me that we need to focus on the gospel. First question, what do you think of a long distance relationship? I'm definitely going to be answering that. But before I answer that, what do you think of a long distance relationship? Let me also say that we had a great time also talking about relationships in Mobile, Alabama, at a conference, at a singles conference. And the name of the conference was Enjoy the Season You Are In. And I think that's the most important thing that we can do, because a lot of us are miserable right now. A lot of us are not enjoying the season we're in. Let's be honest. You have some people that are, but you have a lot of us that just, because we're so focused on what we don't have, we're so desperate for what we want, we're not enjoying what we're already blessed with. And the worst thing you can do is waste the present worrying about the future. You have to be mindful of the future, but not at the expense of the moment. So, tonight I'm going to discuss 5 keys to entering relationships, 5 keys that we have to remember. And honesty is definitely one of them. So I want to answer that question. What about a long distance relationship? Well, I'll say this. First of all, it goes back to understanding what is the purpose for that relationship? Do you see yourself marrying the person that you're dating? Because that's the most important question. Do you see a future with that person? Because a lot of us are in relationships. We're dating right now. Some of us are dating different people, and we don't have an end goal in mind. We don't have an understanding of what direction we're going in with the person that we're dating. Let me see something here. We definitely don't have an understanding of that. So, first question I think you want to ask yourself is, do you always find yourself in a relationship or dating? That's one question. Do you always find yourself in a relationship? Because a lot of times we cannot stand being alone. Too many of us are not happy being by ourselves. We're not content, and we feel like we have to be with somebody. One thing I appreciate about my wife's transparency this weekend is she said before she was married, there was a time in her life where she was dating somebody, and if she broke up with somebody, she also went to someone else. She had someone else in her back pocket because she was not content. But God had to get her to a place where she was, Indigo, you laughed at that block. Yeah, I love block parties. Hey, you can't come on this broadcast being negative. I'll tell you that. There's too much that is important. But a lot of us are not happy being by ourselves. You cannot expect to be happy in a marriage if you can't enjoy your own company. Because a relationship is what you bring to it. It's like an omelet. It's only as good as the eggs you use to cook it. So what you bring to that relationship determines what that relationship will be. You know, it's between two people. You can't have two incomplete people trying to make a whole. And you can't look to another person to complete you, because only God can do that. So my first key, do not be desperate and pressed. If I had to word this like it was a commandment for the saints, I would say, thou shalt not be desperate and pressed. My friend Dime Fitness, Derek Cuff, you can make it work if you want. That's right. You can make it work. It's between those two people, but thou shalt not be desperate and pressed. And I say this because every day, someone jumps out of season and they get in a relationship because of desperation. The need to feel loved and accepted can make wisdom a forgotten concept. A lot of times, because we're so impatient and we want to be with somebody so bad, we'll ignore red flags. Guys, stop ignoring red flags. If you see that person is disrespectful to people, they're disrespectful to their parents, you will not be an exception. If you see that they are selfish, pay attention to the red flags. And a lot of times we do not ask God to expose, reveal, and remove those things that don't have our best interests. We see problems coming up, but, we say, we'll push it to the side. They'll be all right. It's okay. I mean, I can deal with that. But deep down on the inside that something is not right. Something is not right, guys. So that's the first thing. You have to learn to see the value that lies in you. Learn to make decisions today that you'll be happy with tomorrow. Also, if you have any other questions, definitely feel free to ask as we're doing this broadcast. I want this to be a fun dialogue. Definitely. I'm excited to hear from you. Also, some of your comments. I appreciate it. I saw Philly is here on live too. Thank you for joining. Second point, do not expect to be happy. And I said this earlier. Do not expect to be happy if you're not fulfilled on the inside. You have to learn what true fulfillment is. And another person, stop placing your happiness in the hands of another person. Stop, because your happiness is not on other people's job description. And too many times we do that. Oh man, they make me so happy. Man, I need somebody that's going to make me happy. Purpose, being in a purposeful, God glorifying relationship is more than about making you happy. There are times that sacrifice is involved. Loving unconditionally, despite the faults that you see. Learning how to accept that person. Learning how to help them. And I see a comment here. We get broken when they hurt us. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more? I'm trying to understand when you say, then we get broken when they hurt us. I definitely want to know more about that. But you have to know how to be content. Don't build any relationship off of assumption and speculation. Be honest about your intentions up front and expect the other person to be. Oh my gosh, so important. A lot of us are not honest up front. Make sure your intentions are clear. Ladies, if a guy's approaching you, ask him, why me? Why are you approaching me? What's the purpose? Because motives will be revealed. Motives will be revealed in time. That's right, Derek. If you can't love yourself, no one else will. And, there are also times when the right person will see more value in us than we see in our own selves too. That is so true. But we do have to see ourselves as valuable. We have to know who we are. And too many women who don't see themselves valuable, they end up settling. Sir Connor, you said you guess you're too cocky. Why is that? Why do you feel like you're too cocky? But check this out. There's a difference between confidence and cockiness. And guys, let me tell you something. Confidence is a great thing. Confidence is a turn on. Cockiness can be a big turn off. It's okay to be confident. But cockiness basically is just over the top. So when we're talking about assumption and speculation, never assume anything in life. If you are unsure, please ask questions, guys. If it has not been made clear that you and the other person are in an exclusive relationship, then you are not. I would not want to waste my time. When it came to my wife, see, I had been in one serious relationship before I met my wife. And that was about 5 years before I actually met her. And that first relationship, the young lady she was a good person, but just wasn't the right fit for me. And I wasn't the right fit for her. But it did not end in the way that I would have wanted it to. And I did not want to waste another woman's time. I did not want to break anybody's heart. I said, God, I want to do things the right way. I want to make sure that I'm glorifying you in my relationship. But also, I was afraid to love. But I remember having a conversation with my wife and letting her know, hey, I really, really care about you. I don't want to lose you as a friend. I really want to be with you. And as our relationship grew, as our friendship grew, we grew even closer. And eventually, I asked this woman to marry me. Advice for unmarried couple who just had a baby trying to get it back in order. Awesome. Okay. For an unmarried couple, I would say this, that child is valuable. Definitely. That God has a purpose and a plan for you. He has a purpose and a plan for that child. So my suggestion is definitely to seek God, to definitely keep him first, because when God is first and he's the head of that relationship, then things can fall in order. Definitely. Now, when you're trying to get back on track, I want you to, first of all, not condemn yourself, not beat yourself up about the decision you made, because you can't change what happened in the past, but you can do something about what happens in the future. And now your focus is on raising that child to be a good, wholesome, godly child. That's your focus together. And as far as you being married, I'm not sure if you plan on marrying each other, where you plan on taking a relationship, but you have to be obedient to the purpose that God has for your life. Oh, thank you very much. So also treat dating as a luxury rooted in purpose. This is number 4. Treat dating as a luxury rooted in purpose, not a necessity rooted in desperation. Treat dating as a luxury, not as a necessity. It's not a need. Guys, I hear the term playing the field a lot. Playing the field is not as safe as we think it is, because just like in sports, injuries can occur. One thing is that when you're just going from person to person and there's no purpose for it, emotions can be involved. Hearts can get broken. Time can get wasted. Money can get wasted. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth me investing my time, investing my purpose, and even sometimes investing your body, having sex with this person that you don't even see a future with? Is it really worth it? And the last one I have is exercise patience and observation. Emotional soul ties are real. Yes, they are. They are definitely real. And when you're talking about soul ties, you can have an emotional soul tie with someone. Even though you haven't had sex with them, you can definitely have a tie with them, because, you're talking with that person, you're building something with that person, and yet, you don't see a future with them. Now you have a connection and a bond. Somebody is going to get in their feelings. Somebody's heart is going to be broken. So we have to use wisdom. Attraction to the opposite sex is natural. There's nothing wrong with having good, healthy friendships. That's great. But just make sure that your intentions are clear. Guys, women respect an honest man. Ladies, if you respect an honest man, let me see some hearts. Let me see some comments, something. If you want these guys to be honest, and guys also, if you want these ladies to be honest, definitely let me see some hearts. I see a lot of hearts on that one. Honesty is so important. There's more to the person than what you currently see. I have right here, the person who sees only with their eyes will always be easy to fool. Before my wife and I even agreed to go out on a date, first of all, she observed me and I observed her. A lot of observation took place. Check this out. The best way to observe someone is to watch them without watching them. And what I mean is when somebody knows that you're watching them, they're going to be on their best behavior because they know they're being watched. But when you observe them, how they treat their parents, how they talk to other people, how they serve. One of the things that turned my wife on about me was how I served others. And I'm not saying that to brag, but how I served others, my heart for people. That's something that drew her. Ladies, let God make a man out of him before you try to make a husband out of him. Another question. When you're considering a relationship, how is your personal time with God? Because if your time with God is shallow right now, it's not going to. Just think, if you bring someone into your life, if it's shallow now, it's going to get worse later because God is not already a priority to you. How did someone just asked a question? They said, how did I know that my wife was my wife? I knew that Jennifer was my wife because I could not see my life without her. She was a great friend to me. She was very valuable. And I could not see myself spending the rest of my life without her. That's one way I knew. Also, I told her over the phone as a friend, I said, I feel like I can trust you with my life. And we were just friends during this time. So, fellas, when she's the one, ladies, when he is the one, you will know. And it's something that's going to happen naturally. It's not a relationship that you'll have to force. The best relationships and friendships happen when it's natural, when it's organic, not when it's forced. If you have to make it happen, it's not for you. You cannot make someone love you. And you have to look beyond what you see. What are your expectations? Expectations are so important. A lot of us want our women to, you want your mate to know how to cook, know how to clean, know how to do all of these great things. You want them to know how to, just take care of your clothes. We have all these expectations, but we're not striving to become what we want our mate to be. So when it comes to that, there's a lot we have to understand. The bottom line is date according to purpose. Don't date somebody that you don't see yourself spending the rest of your life with, because there is only one way that's going to end up. Somebody's going to be very frustrated because they're going to see that, okay, we're not a good fit. And the question is going to come up. Okay, why are we dating in the first place? And too many of us don't ask God what he thinks about our decision. We don't have a conversation with God. And also beware of someone that keeps bringing up their past. Too many of us are in love with our past too much to be in a relationship. We dwell on the past too much, and we've met Mr. Baggage. So what happens is when you meet Mr. Baggage is you start dating with the wrong intentions. A lot of us date because we want to get back at somebody. We want to prove to our families that we can have somebody. We're discontent. We're jealous because we feel like ladies, you always feel like you're a bridesmaid. Guys, you feel like, okay, I'm always a groomsman. So in order to prove that I can get somebody, let me go just start dating. And we try to manufacture and create a relationship that is fake from the beginning. I'm the biggest atheist. I think God is utter rubbish. Oh, okay. Cool. Okay. Now, well, I pray that you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. You can't enjoy your future holding on to the past. That's so important. I heard a friend of mine once say, if they continually compare you to your ex, compare you to their ex, compare them to your next and move on. If they continually compare you to their ex, then there's an issue there. There's some baggage that hasn't been let go. There's some healing that hasn't taken place. And none of us is perfect. All of us needs healing in some areas. But you cannot have a future if you continue to hold on to your past. Something has to die. So I love to hear from you guys also. I think that's pretty much what I have for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in to Are You Ready for a Relationship? You know, if I didn't see my wife as a potential mate for me, I would not have even asked her out. I would not. Because one thing I want to teach my children is I don't want them going from person to person practicing divorce. Because there are consequences. There are things that happen as a result, whether we want to believe it or not. Have honest intentions from the beginning. Love yourself enough to not even waste your own time. Too many of us don't even love ourselves, man. Love your own self. You have to see yourself as a bonus. I'm valuable. I'm worth waiting for. This person is worth the wait. And every time you have sex with somebody that you are not married to, you have just slept with somebody that you have slept with somebody's future mate, somebody's future husband or wife. Think about if that were your husband and wife. Now, God is a restorer. And soul ties can be broken, but sexual health spiritually is so important, because one thing you don't want to do is get married and feel like you have to compare your spouse to the people that you slept with. But that's another discussion. Guys, I really appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. Also, go to jefftylerspeaks.com/ready for a relationship. That is the title of my blog. This vlog is based off of some writings and some things that God has been just speaking to me. And I want you guys to feel free to check it out. Definitely. jefftylerspeaks.com. Check out the website if you want the physical notes. And also, if you feel like you're not able to remember everything that was on this broadcast. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was a great discussion. How do I get my little sister to know her worth? Wow. Good question. Well, I would say this, be the example, be a good example to her. One way you can get your sister to see her worth is you have to be that example that she can look up to. I'm not saying you're not, I'm sure you may be, but definitely show her what worth is. Take the time to spend time with her, talk to her, and you can't force anybody to do anything. That's for one. You cannot force somebody to be a certain way. Pray for her first. Seek God as to how you can help her to see her worth. You know, see her as a sibling. A lot of times we pick things up from our older brothers and sisters so much, even more than we realize. So definitely keep her in prayer. You be that example to her of what it means to walk as a woman of worth. Show her your, someone also just said, show her your imperfections. Let her know what you have struggled through. Very good. I like that. Definitely be transparent. Tell her, because I feel like people can relate to your weaknesses more than they can your strengths a lot of times. A lot of times people can relate to your weaknesses, and they can see that if he messed up in this area and God's still blessing him, then obviously the same thing can happen for me. I don't have to remain the same way. Look at what they went through. It's all about allowing our scars to become somebody else's stars. We can teach obedience. We can't teach obedience if we're not obedient. That's true. You always want to strive to live, be a person of integrity. I try to always make sure that if I'm teaching people things, that I'm striving to live it myself. None of us is perfect, but understand that being imperfect is never an excuse to remain the way you are. At some point, we all have to grow up and take responsibility for where we are. So thank you guys again. I enjoyed you. Make sure you log onto the website and you can get a physical copy. You can print it out if you want. You can definitely read it. Are you ready for a relationship? This has been Man Up Mondays. Tune in next week at 8:30 p.m. as we will talk more. And also, I'll try to do another video throughout the week. Love you guys.